Here we are in round the fourth with Boros Monarch. This hand has to be a mulligan. I have two turn one Thraben Inspectors I can't play. I only have one land. The Bolt makes it kind of interesting, but we can do better. And this is better. Let's go ahead and close out of the chat. Yep, we'll keep. Opponent's going to 5. I like that. Turn 1, we'll Windscarred Crag, Thraben Inspector. Turn 2, I like this card because I have the Prism. Turn 2, we can Prism. Turn 3, we can Skyfisher back the Prism. I wonder if our opponent's on a certain blue-red Delver. We actually cannot turn 1 Thraben Inspector, which is unfortunate. Right now, we're actually going to have to turn 2 Prism, and then turn 3, we can Skyfisher and well, if we draw an untapped land, I don't know. It's complicated. All right, looks like we're playing against the Turbo Angler style deck, blue-black. Don't know how our matchup is against them. I think this is a fine hand against them, though, and I imagine that the Monarch is actually pretty good. Also, our opponent went to 5, so feeling all right. We also have the option of, well, Delver is very interesting. Hopefully we draw, if we just draw a removal spell, I'm just going to kill the Delver. Instead, we draw Glinthawk. So now what we can do is we could play Prism. We could play Inspector plus Boros Garrison, which might set us up better for turn 3. Because then we can Glinthawk. No, we still don't have another. We have the Radiant Fountain. So I kind of like that. Let's play the Inspector. We can block the Delver if they don't flip it. Almost forgot to play my land for the turn. Next turn, we can Hawk plus Prism, which I like, and this way my opponent will have to use removal spell now if they want it. Opponent draws counterspell, of course. So that's actually pretty terrible, because it will not let me cast my Glinthawk. Maybe if I draw a removal spell, the Delver is not super threatening quite yet. There's a Journey, so actually what I can do, I don't have an untapped white mana. Tough. Let's attack. If I play the Journey, they'll basically counterspell it. If I play the Prism, maybe they will counterspell it, maybe they won't. So let's go ahead and run out Prism, and then worst case scenario, I can play the Crag Pass turn if they counter this. Best case, I'll play Radiant Fountain, and they'll counter, and then I'll attempt to play Glinthawk. They'll counter the Glinthawk, and then next turn I'll be able to try and get in there with the Journey. Because I think they have to counter this, because I will trade with the Delver if they don't. Interesting place to crack the fetch. Getting a Swiggity Swamp. These are some foil Kamigawa lands. Mental note. 2 Gurmag Anglers have been pitched, which is good for me. Does this mean my opponent has might mean they have Ghastly Demise. Yep. That's not too bad. Making my opponent 1-for-1 at this point in the game is very good. I have inevitability in my removal. I have so much. They have 1 counterspell. They only have 2 cards in hand. I don't think this Delver is going to be able to totally win them the game. So what I can do here is I can replay Prism. Then I'll play Crag and attack for 1. Now I have double Journey. Can't lose. In a turn, I can cycle this Cave. So yeah, next turn I can get rid of the Delver, and that'll be good. Maybe I don't want to cycle this Cave, actually, because I only have 4 mana out. I think I might want 5 mana this game. So I'm going to hold on to it. We got enough bounce lands. All right, what else you got, opponent? Thought Scour, sure. Binning accumulated knowledge and chainers, so that's actually pretty good. If they angler here, what am I gonna do? Which is what they're doing. I only have Sultai Scavenger. All right. So do I want to cycle this? I think the answer is no. I think I want to play it. Well, Drew Fountain instead. So now I'm going to hold on to that so I can cycle the other one. So let's play our first journey. It'll get countered. We'll play our second journey. We'll get rid of the scavenger. It'll be good. Now our opponent only has one card in hand, and we should be able to win. We've already been one of their counter spells. Next turn we can go Battle Screech. Or next turn we'll probably go Skyfisher. Let's cycle that guy. That's pretty good. All right, Palace Sentinels. Probably the best. Let's attempt to play Glint Hawk. See if this gets countered. Yep. A-okay. Now we have blockers for the Delver, and next turn we can become the Monarch. Maybe we won't, though. My opponent doesn't know that we're not just, regular old Kuldotha Boros. Opponent deep analyses. I think we do want to become Monarch, though. I think it's just going to help in this game, unless we draw a removal spell. We drew a land, so we can actually afford to play Prison first and see if we draw a removal spell. And we do. So plan changes slightly. Yeah, opponent going to 5 really helped us this game. Angler Delver. All right, they're flashing back the deep analysis. I'm not sure how I feel about this matchup. This game feels good, but that's because my opponent went to 5 and only managed to stick one threat that was able to consistently get in. I don't think I want to show my opponent that I have the Monarch plan in my deck quite yet. Maybe that will change how they sideboard, and maybe the Monarch will be good against them. That's a pretty good draw. Well, now it becomes, do I play that? Do I cycle the clue? Disfigure, sure. Anything else? I kind of don't want to just get countered, though, is the other thing. Yeah, and I have lethal on board. There's no reason to play it. I can cycle the clue. I just need another Galvanic Blast or another Bolt to win. Pretty good Thought Scour, I think. Opponent pitches a Brainstorm and a Dismal Backwater, so nothing really that useful. Brainstorm might be useful here, but I don't know if my opponent has any fetches. All right, well, it doesn't matter. We'll go to sideboarding. And so for this matchup, definitely Pyroblast. Leaving the Journeys because my opponent probably still has the Anglers and probably some number of the Undying 2/2. I said he, but I mean my opponent. And what do we cut? Vial doesn't seem bad. Strands seems a little bad unless they have a pretty aggressive start. So I don't think I want that. I have no access to Graveyard Hate, which is a little unfortunate. Opponent did not see any of my Palace Sentinels. I think cutting one might be correct because they have a lot of flyers. Threat Inspector is a pretty good card. I don't want to cut any of my creatures. I think I'll cut a Vial and a Prism. excuse me, which is my general rule of thumb for cutting. And then we have access to the 4 blasts, so that should help us deal with problematic permanents. And we can counter the blue guy on the way down if we need to. Let's close that. So opponent on the play this game. This hand seems fine. We have a turn 1 Windscarred Crag, turn 2 Prism, turn 3 Glinthawk, back the Prism, replay Prism. Which is a pretty good hand in my opinion. We have some extra lands we can cycle if we don't need them. I think that we are actually not the aggro deck in this matchup. I think our plan is to contain their threats. That's a pretty good draw. And actually, it's not a good draw. I lied. It just makes my Forgotten Caves able to cycle easier. I think our plan is to weather the initial assault and then eventually get there. So depending on how many lands my opponent has, maybe that was a good one, maybe that wasn't. The annul seems not very strong, honestly. I just have so many redundant artifacts. Like, what are you annulling? Are you annulling my Prophetic Prism? I just don't think it matters. If my opponent goes turn 1 Delver here, I'll be very happy. If my opponent goes turn 1 Angler here, maybe not. All right, now that happens. So now now we have a choice. We could play. Nah, we have to play Prism here, I think. Just be silly not to. And then if they have the annul, they have the annul, and I guess it's good in this exact one spot. All right, Journey's a great draw if they have a Turbo Angler. So I'm feeling pretty good about our removal options here. Next turn we'll play Windscarred Crag, and we'll probably try and bounce Prism. Although that will leave us without red mana, but my opponent's not doing anything, so that's maybe fine. Yeah, let's cast Glinthawk. This gets countered. I do, yep, an actual counter spell. That's my favorite, is when your opponent uses a real counter spell to try and get rid of one of your creatures, because Glinthawk is, it's a good card. It's not the best thing in my deck. It's a 2/2. Thought Scouring again, getting rid of 2 threats. I like that. And stuck on mana as well. I think I'm good to cycle one of these caves because I don't think I need 5 lands right now, and I'd rather draw an untapped land. Well, there's Pyroblast. Don't hate that. So let's play the Vial, hope for an untapped land. If we don't get it, we'll play the Cave. Or if we get an untapped land, maybe it's better to play Cave. Yeah, we're playing the Cave. I need 4 mana in this deck. So got a Gripful of Burn. We have the Pyroblast. If my opponent attempts to resolve, and that the Undying is just, its name's around the tip of my tongue here. Man, opponent just cannot draw black mana. Another Bolt. So is it worth it to play? Oh, if it just gets countered, I mean, do I respond? I think I respond. I think I Pyroblast this. Because I also have the Journey for the card that I'm so worried about. So Pyroblasting removal spell seems fine here, or a counter spell. Then I get that back. Don't have another land. Maybe I should have kept that other Forgotten Cave. But we have so many lands in the deck. It's hard to believe that we haven't hit any. It's also hard to believe my opponent hasn't hit any black mana yet. There's an AK. But we're prepared for a whole bunch of stuff. We have so much removal. I think we're gonna be able to control this game pretty easily. My opponent's already used 2 counter spells. They probably have 4 copies of counter spell and maybe 2 deprives. All right, I don't really want to see any more burn. It's nice, but I don't need it. And I don't see a reason to not try and resolve this Glinthawk. All right, so my opponent maybe doesn't have any more counter spells available. We have that Vial for the Angler. My opponent's not doing anything? I like that. Yeah, and with this much burn. We only have 1 artifact out? Interesting. I kind of need more. I have 1 in my hand, so really top decking artifact land would be my best draw here. We turn on my Galvanic Blasts, and it would give me a little bit more mana to play with. Although I guess at this point, with so much burn, yeah, I do want to draw like a Great Furnace, so that way I can start going upstairs with all my burn, and maybe think about maybe ending this game. And I wonder what would happen if I try to go for that now. I have way more burn than anything else. Okay, well now I want to bolt that. And this looks like a Gurmag Angler, so I think my plan is to attempt to bolt Delver. Next turn, if it doesn't resolve, bolt Delver, and then Journey the Angler. And then I'm still in pretty good control of the game. Yeah, my opponent just can't. I mean, one counterspell, I have so much removal. Land is good. Let's see what happens if I attempt to Journey to Nowhere this Grimog Angler. And I do have a Vial in play, so that it doesn't really matter if I'm unable to. Alright, sweet. Still only have 2 artifacts. Raven Inspector, I think I want to go ahead and resolve that. Unless my opponent has exactly Essence Scatter. And then that also turns on my Metalcraft. So that was actually a pretty good draw. So now my opponent's in trouble. I have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 14 points of burn in hand. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. 14 points of burn and 3 on the table. Even with double Ghastly Demise. Well, actually, now it's not lethal. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, now I have 15. Let's attack. Let's cycle a clue. That's pretty good. Let's play that, and then we can maybe cycle the Forgotten Cave if we want to. We need one more hit in on our opponent here, though. Alright, well, now we don't. I wonder if I should go for this now. What if they have, like, one more counterspell? I guess I can do it in response to something. Yeah, I guess there's no reason to rush. Well, you know, I kind of missed my window. If I really wanted to do it, I should have done it already, but I was hoping they would tap more. So right now I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 6. Wait. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I actually think I might have enough. Yeah, sure, let's go for it. My opponent's F6'd. Alright, and that's game. Burning them out with Boros Monarch. Alright, I'll see everyone for our final match.